Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be getting into some positive news for Peyton Royce, as well as a very confusing story regarding Karrion Kross and Scarlett. So let's start off with the Peyton Royce news. Peyton Royce is only 27 years old, but she has been in the wrestling industry for a long time. Peyton made her official debut in the independent scene in February 2009. So that right there is pretty amazing fact on its own. She started wrestling at such a young age, and she's still only 27 with 11 years of experience in the ring. That's quite amazing. She worked hard to build a name for herself and finally was signed to NXT in 2015 after trying out for WWE the year before that when WWE was touring in her home country of Australia. Peyton debuted on NXT, and the debut of her real-life best friend, Billie Kay, also took place around the same time. The two of them formed the Iconic Duo, which was later renamed to the IIconics. They made their main roster debuts in 2018, which was a very emotional night for the both of them, but their careers took off from there, winning the tag team titles at WrestleMania, winning their match in front of their hometown crowd at Australia, at a big network special event, and so many more big wins. Of course, they were taken off of TV for several months, without explanation, but they're back on television in what seems to be a feud with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. The IIconics' return has been a little hard to follow this year. It looked like WWE was teasing a breakup between the two of them, but that was dropped. Then it looked like they were chasing the women's tag team titles. But that didn't go anywhere either. It's just been pretty hectic. Now they're in a feud with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott due to some things that have been happening between all of them over the last few weeks. But the popular question that remains is, what are the long-term plans for Peyton Royce and Billie Kay? Peyton's husband, Shawn Spears, is a wrestler for AEW. So the fans always talk about, well, Peyton can just go to AEW with him. Peyton addressed that rumor several times, and that she loves where she's at. But now there's some even better news that Vince McMahon is reportedly a major fan of Peyton Royce. Rumors and reports have started to circulate that Vince McMahon was giving high praise in a recent meeting with a creative team about Peyton Royce and how he sees her as a big single star. Vince McMahon also reportedly mentioned his love for Bayley's new persona and showed love to Bianca Belair, calling her a single star as well. So that's some good news for all three women, Bayley, Peyton Royce, and Bianca Belair. The three of them all seem to have the support of Vince McMahon. It's no secret that WWE loves both Bayley and Sasha Banks. They hold all the titles and play a major role on each show every week. So we can definitely see that. But the high praise for Peyton and Bianca's work is the interesting part here, especially for Peyton. It was reported that Vince McMahon was talking about Peyton Royce, but the report doesn't say anything about Billie Kay. So, even though it's great news that he sees Peyton as a big star, it's still a bit concerning for Billie Kay. What does this mean for Billie? Does Vince McMahon plan on breaking the IIconics up, giving Peyton the big push, then forgetting about Billie? That's always the weird part with the tag team breakups. In most cases, one member of the team goes on to see major success. The other member just gets lost in the shuffle. I hope that's not the case here. Vince McMahon is actually right about Peyton Royce. She has so much potential to be a huge star on her own. Like we mentioned before, you're talking about 11 years of experience, and she's just entering the prime of her career right now. So she's only going to get even better. Peyton was even the main talk coming out of Raw a few weeks ago, after she debuted an amazing new finisher that fans couldn't stop watching and talking about. The talent is most definitely there with Peyton, but it's there with Billie as well. So if they do plan on breaking them up down the line, which everyone pretty much expects to happen eventually, I just hope that Peyton and Billie get an equal opportunity to shine as single stars. I'm assuming that their first singles feud will be with each other as part of their breakup story. So that will be a good opportunity to see them go at it with each other and put all their skills on display. Peyton and Billie are extremely close friends, so you know that they really will do everything they can to make each other look good in that feud. The only thing that you have to question, like always, is of course WWE's creative team. If they don't handle the storytelling part the right way, then of course their breakup feud is going to feel flat. So hopefully WWE does their part there with that story. But it's still a good sign that Peyton has a bright future ahead of her with having Vince McMahon's support. So let's go into this next story about Karrion Kross and Scarlett, because this was a little confusing and had everyone asking questions. Karrion Kross and Scarlett are continuing to do their thing on NXT. They continue to be some of the most interesting characters and performers on NXT, but a story came out this week that almost flipped everyone's perspective on them. Ex-WWE ring announcer Hugo Savinovich made some claims that was horribly taken out of context and really confused everyone. Hugo was talking about Karrion Kross, and he said that he was happy to see Karrion turn his life around and be so passionate about wrestling and truly care for his girlfriend Scarlett. Apparently, Hugo mentioned that Karrion Kross used to be a dangerous man that you didn't want to see at all before he started to wrestle and did some horrible things. That's when reports and wrestling websites took off with their ridiculous headline about Karrion Kross and this newly rumored criminal past that he went through. Turns out that Hugo said a majority of his comments in Spanish, and even Hugo himself said that he feels like majority of what he said was lost in translation, and that the big companies didn't do a good job translating what he said. Hugo went back to Facebook to post another video clarifying his comments. He had this to say about what he meant. We have to be very careful because this could be called lost translation, and it has to do with mostly people that don't really do a good job translating what I say in Spanish and also don't know wrestling. They don't know the wrestling language, storytelling. This is it. I love Kevin or Karrion Kross. Scarlett, I did play-by-play with them in AAA. There's so much passion on them. And Conan, the main creative, with Dorian, the owner of AAA. I let them know from the beginning what I think about them. I love them, Scarlett and Karrion. I like to use Lucha Libre online to build more on the characters, and you have to be very careful to understand what I'm doing. So I was speaking about the deepness of this brutal force, this machine, and I was using his past, present, and future to talk about what he had done. So before you write any stupidity about what you think Hugo said, before you go crazy with wrong translations of what Hugo said, that's nonsenseless. He also said that he was speaking metaphorically and not literally. He loves to go in depth with characters' backgrounds, and that's what he was doing. He also praised their work in WWE and hopes that WWE doesn't ruin them down the line. So I guess that's what happened here. Maybe Hugo was giving some background to Karrion Kross, the actual WWE character, saying that he did all these bad things, and the big websites misunderstood him and thought that he meant that the man behind the Karrion Kross character actually did all these horrible things in real life. But I kind of like Hugo's comments if he was in fact talking about the character's background. We need more of that stuff in WWE. All the characters in WWE right now, besides Bray Wyatt, have no past and no backstories at all. So if WWE added little things like the fact that maybe Karrion Kross was a criminal of some sorts before coming to NXT, I think it will add another layer to his character and make him even more scary to viewers and opponents. What are your thoughts about these misunderstood comments about Scarlett and Karrion Kross? And what do you think of all the rumors about Peyton Royce? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingWorldCC and on Twitter at WrestlingWCC. Thanks for watching, guys.